This time it's the teenager Pepe Oriola. His left rear tyre is facing in entirely the wrong direction. He can't save it. It is spinning on its own. And this is Coronel under pressure from Huff. Muller's gone through. Huff now goes through.
You can see the back end of Coronel's BMW squirming there under the power. I think that's where they're going to struggle.
Well, the BMW has got 3 drivability settings for power delivery. The Chevrolet, as we were looking at yesterday, has almost a dozen for drivability and also a dozen different fuel maps that you can adjust. So enormously more involved it is, you know, and the start control system and everything, enormously more involved, the electronics, in trying to control the extra power of the turbo motor. Tarquini leads, but oh dear, that's not a good sight in the mirrors. The king of sideways, Ivan Muller, is second, Rob Huff up to third, Coronel in fourth, Dahlgren in fifth, but the stewards will be spending a fair time talking to the Swede afterwards. Nukia and Montero 7th and 8th. Watch Menu, what happens? Wheel on the grass. Wheel on the grass on the left-hand side of the car. No one was near him. He drifted out wide. This is his onboard.
That's it, yeah. You could see he had a bit of oversteer just in the dip. Like you said before, maybe they just hit a bit of standing water and try to correct it, and it's just bit him.
Well, so much for the curse of the commentator. I suggested maybe he might have had, at the beginning of the race, a chance for a double race winning weekend. That, I'm afraid, has long since departed with that clash in the barriers. This is Tarquini, eating him up. As soon as they get through into green flag racing, into 5. And again, Muller can go from the outside, cut to the inside, while Tarquini's wrestling the car just to get it to go around the corner. Grip to give away in the Chevy.
This is ideal situations, I think, for Ivan Muller in the Chevrolet. I think it's the perfect scenario for him.
Well, now, up until now, he's had speed advantage over Tarquini. Now he's got none. Coronel passed by Dahlgren. The Swede goes up to 4th. Could the Volvo end up on the podium? Incidentally, in all of this, are the tyres going to last the remaining 8 or 9 laps? On the front straight in front of us, there is dry tarmac.
Yeah.
That's how hot the track is. It's like water in a frying pan. It's steaming off.
With less than halfway through the race, and there is a bone dry line down the start finish straight, so I'm pretty sure that's going to certainly play into anybody's hand who has 6 on.
It'll be that old thing where we see in all single-seater racing, they'll be hunting out the wet patches within a lap or 2. Here now comes Muller, dives inside Tarquini, goes out wide, still cuts back in onto the line.
Yeah, that was a good move. It was nicely done. He made it stick there. I think he maybe went up there on the slippy bit and then got in the grippier outside of the circuit, managed to cut back from out there.
Now he's on the racing line here, it's slippery, it drifts out wide, and as soon as he goes out wide there's more grip for the tyres. He can use his Chevrolet chassis as he takes the lead, and that is all she wrote, I think, unless tyre wear really becomes a factor here.
They're already hunting for the wet patches. You can see them hugging the pit wall, which is the wrong side of the track to be on.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it, how quickly the weather has changed and how quickly the track looks like it's changing back. Still lots of spray, but of course that means that the tyres are picking the water up off the road and spreading it around into the air, where it will evaporate instead of just falling again. So that every bit of spray makes the track drier. Fabio Fabiani is off. Norbert Michaelis comes across the line. He is currently in 16th place because now Menu has gone, Oriola's off, Poulsen is out. So he is up to 16th, and Benani, well, Fabiani's in the gravel trap, so Michaelis will pick up a place from him. And this is why Fabiani going in deep. I'm afraid that was a bit of a Billy moment where the tyres just locked up and he didn't have the confidence to get off the brake pedal and release the tyres to do the duty which he was trying to ask of them, which was get round the corner.
Yeah, very clumsy, that thing. But if you look at the independent class, Michel Niger in the turbo petrol Seat is now leading.
And there he is. There's Nukia. He's in 6th position, top Yokohama Trophy driver. Daryl Young, don't know if he did go with full slicks, but he's up to 8th place from 12th, and only Alain Menu has vanished in front of him. Muller leads from Tarquini, Huff, Dahlgren and Coronel, and this is the battle right behind. Nukia, who we're watching, knocking on the back door of Coronel's BMW, and whether he's running out of grip or the car is just spinning up its rear tyres, which I think is slightly what you suspect, Harry. The BMW does not have the grip. And don't forget now, Nukia, not Montero, who we ride with, Nukia has got a petrol turbo engine in his Seat, so very different to anything he's raced in the rain before, whereas Montero with a diesel, lots of low down torque, not so much snatch under acceleration. He'll know how it handles a little bit better. It's going to be interesting to see how the tyre life between those two cars right there balances out, because they've got completely different engines in the same chassis.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. It will be very interesting to see how that works out by the end of the race, especially if it's drying like it is.
Well, right now Montero's got grip, hasn't he, that Nukia can't find. As Nukia picks up the throttle, it's an understeer switch. The more gas, the further and wide he goes through the corner.
Interestingly, actually, it looked like Leger pulled away slightly there coming off the corner.
Well, Muller, Tarquini, Huff and Dahlgren, the top four. There is the Volvo. Coronel fifth with the lights ablaze on the red, white and blue BMW. And then Mikel Nukia. Almost nobody with their wipers still on. And now half the width of the main straight is bone dry. And that's a massive shunt. Oh, Oriola, they've dropped him. He'd gone off anyway a couple of laps ago. Cars 15 and 30 are now under investigation. They've picked him up off the barriers. Oh, no, they haven't. They're towing him backwards. Well, this is the collision, and it breaks the left rear corner, and the car then spinning furiously to the driver's right, out of his control, and he just stopped it there because he knew it was going to be a nightmare. And there is Robert Dahlgren in fourth position, but under investigation by the stewards. Robert Dahlgren in fourth, the BMW there of Tom Coronel in fifth position, under pressure from Mikel Nukia and Thiago Montero, who almost looked like he was getting by Nukia last lap for sixth position. Coronel in the BMW and the pale blue Volvo of Dahlgren will both be investigated by the stewards for incidents. In Dahlgren's case, I'm sure they're looking at the one with Oriola.
Yeah, I think Dahlgren might get a bit of a penalty for one of those incidents. He seemed to be getting into most of the Seats at the start of that.
Nukia almost had a run going on Coronel. There was a little bit of a bump there as Tom just got the door closed, but Nukia definitely was having a run on him out of corner 8-9. And again, he is quicker than the BMW. It looks through the corners, and actually it seems picking up off the corners as well. He's got a slight drivability advantage. Drive-through penalty for cars 4 and 21. That's Duda Carlo, and 21 Fabio Fabiani.
That looked like Montero almost lost it there. I don't know if he was taking a bit of a dramatic line to get into the water, but from our angle it certainly looked like he was having a bit of a moment.
Right, leaders on lap 8 of 14, which means 6 of this still to go. Muller, Tarquini, Huff. For how long? How long is Rob Huff going to be able to sit behind Tarquini before he feels that he has to make a move? And how long are the tyres on these cars going to survive? And can anybody now, with only half a dozen laps left, give up track position for a pit stop? Anybody who's on slicks now, half the circuit is their friend, half the circuit wants to throw them off. And again, Coronel with a wild sideways moment. Fabiani has planted the car in the gravel there, so yellow flags which aren't being shown, so clearly they've withdrawn them. But again, you can see dry bits and lakes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's not easy out there.
You've got all the extremes there, and I think this is that's what's catching people out. If you're dropping a wheel over a curb, and it could still have a lot of standing water on the back of it, which you can't see.
Well, Norman Michaelis in 15th place has just come by in front of Duda Carlo, and there's Bart, wheel to wheel with Benani.
That's got tears written all over it, I think, there.
Well, across the line, Bart was 11th and Benani was 14th, with Taniguchi and Duda Carlo between them, and there is now nothing between them, and Bart goes up the inside. So he takes the place for the moment from Mehdi Benani. I wonder if Benani started in the pit lane on slick tyres as well. That might be very interesting. Let's have a look at his lap time. 2 minutes 15.5 to 2:21.8 of Michaelis. Leader doing 2 minutes 12s. So if Michaelis is on slicks, he is 8-9 seconds a lap slower at the moment than the leaders. He's not making the progress he would have hoped for.
No, I think he's going to run out of laps as well.
Yeah, if there was another 5, and how many times do we say this in World Touring Cars? If there was another 5 laps, it would have been a very different race for the BMWs, and that is often the case. Wind is still blowing, actually. It's still a decent breeze, so that's helping the track dry as well. I can't believe how quickly the front straight is drying. It is like it's got undersoil heating. Even that couldn't dry it this quickly. Coming onto the straight here, look, wet, wet, wet. Oh, we wanted the onboard shot there. Down the straight, look at the pale grey all the way down the front straight. There's barely even a trace that it rained. Remember 20 minutes ago, everybody was diving for cover as it was a monsoon.
It's amazing. I suppose it was 50 degrees or so, the track temperature. It's obviously just made it evaporate straight away. That looks Huff coming up.
Yeah, Huff having a look inside. Tarquini tries hard to squeeze the gap down. Of course, these two made contact in Zolder when they were dicing for the lead. Rob Huff will